Hey, this is Scott. I'm recording this on my iPhone as I drive down the road in my Ford pickup truck. I've been very interested in homeschooling for a long time, as many of you know. We've home educated our kids, and home education really was the genesis of online great books. And I'm just interested in learning and how people learn, and I'm very interested in living around other people that have some good education. And I, having gone to public schools and having gone to Walmart, I know that the public schools just aren't giving us what we need. In fact, nobody, no matter where you are politically, thinks that the public schools are doing a good enough job. People on the right don't like the public schools and what they're doing. The people on the left don't think they're doing enough good job either. Like, we all can agree on that. It's just starting to rain right now. But there's been, because of this COVID shutdown, lots of people are having to school their kids at home or educate them at home. I do think there's a difference between schooling and education. And a lot of people in the United States are finding that they can do it, that it's a delight having the kids at home, that it's a delight not having to deal with homework schedules and commuting the kids back and forth at the school or the bus stop and so on. And there are going to be a lot of people that come to the homeschooling side through this COVID lockdown. And Harvard University has recently, I think it was the Harvard Law School, published a paper that was authored by Elizabeth Bartholet in opposition to homeschooling. She makes a number of arguments that I'm not going to get into them too much here. But one, she thinks that people may not be qualified to educate their kids, and that there will be a whole generation of people that were home for 3 or 4 months in 2020 because of the COVID lockdown that will never catch up, a lost generation. She also worries that a great number of children will be abused at home, and because they never go to school or they never leave the home, she says never leave the home, like they would be just locked up. But because they wouldn't be going to school, other people wouldn't be essentially inspecting those kids and determining whether or not the children are being abused. So some child that's being abused wouldn't have access to other adults to snitch on, or to snitch on the parents too. Or the teacher wouldn't be able to see the bruises on the kid's face or whatever and turn the family into Department of Human Services. Those are some of the main arguments, and there are others, but there's a whole movement right now against parental authoritarianism. If the parents, the idea is that the parents parent at the will of the government, and the children are essentially on loan to the parents at the pleasure of the government, and that people who want to educate their kids and make all the decisions for their children are in fact authoritarian and should not be granted that right. Okay, well there are some other arguments, and maybe I'm mischaracterizing some of them, but it doesn't even matter. My question is, why do they want access to your kids? That's the real question. You know, Adam Carolla says, if the Boy Scout troop needs somebody to lead the troop on a camp out next weekend, and some guy named Randy jumps up and says, I would love to lead the boys. I just love children. Throw him out on his face. The guy you want is the one that says, never going to do it, hate kids, and not interested. There's something about adults, and I'm going to get hate mail about this, but there's something about adults that are very eager to have access to your kids that I'm highly suspect of. Some people love children and love educating children, see something in children that they once saw in themselves as children, and want to repay the world, if you will, for the good that was done them when they were young. And you know, there are good motives out there, but People that like candy are drawn to the candy store. What are these people who want this unfettered access, or this continual access, or this growing access to your children? What do they really want? What do they really want? Lately, we've seen, in the last year or so, we've seen the Epstein story break and be ignored. We've seen the Weinstein story break and mostly be ignored. Every single day you see stories, not every single day in your community perhaps, but if you get on the internet and care about this, you'll find that almost every single day some teacher has been grooming and having sex with a 13-year-old student. The news stories are prevalent. I'm not even going to link to any of them. You can go find out for yourself. If you're one of these people that says, show your sources, you've got Google, you can go do it for yourself. It happens all day, every day. These people have, I'm convinced, have a pedophilic interest in access to your kids. And if they don't want it for themselves, they want it for their cronies in that power structure. There are some people, probably most people in the education system, are useful fools who enjoy their work and feel like they're doing good work and try their best. And that's not the problem. It's the person at the top who wants to make sure that that system has a continual supply of children that I'm very suspect about. We have seen scandals break in the Catholic Church about pedophilia, homosexuality, unfettered access to children, and what that can lead to. The scandal in the American public school system is 10 times larger. I promise you, it's 10 times larger. It could be 100 times larger, in fact, and I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. The number of children that the problem priest had access to pales to the number of children that a predator like that would have access to in the public school system. Then the fact that the teachers are protected by the NEA and the teachers unions and the civil service laws and etc. means that this is a poisonous, dangerous cocktail that just pure rationality would tell you would draw people with perverse tastes to that community. And then the fact that theoreticians from on high are constantly lobbying for continued and growing access to your children makes me raise an eyebrow.